Good evening, everyone.
Good,
Mm,
good evening, sir.
Good evening. So, I hope you have completed all your yesterday's assignment.
Yes, sir.
Mm,
Sir.
okay, good. So, we'll start today's session. Mm, is my screen visible
No, sir.
now?
Yeah, yes, it's present.
Okay. So, today we'll learn about authentication and backup. We'll learn important concepts. Sorry, there are important concepts. I'll remove the end. So, what is authentication? Authentication is the process of identifying users that request access to a system, a network, or a device. Say, even when you're using a phone, most of you might be using the password to log into the main home screen. So this is a type of authentication, and authentication in cybersecurity, information security plays a major role. So in today's session, we'll see types of authentication, their users, how it works, and also at last we'll see backup also. So basically, there are four types of authentication. First one is password-based authentication, then multi-factor authentication, then there is certificate-based authentication, biometric authentication, and at last it comes token-based authentication. So we'll learn one by one what it is. Just a second, guys. Okay, so we'll continue. My screen is visible, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the first one is password-based authentication. So I hope most of you know what is password-based authentication because most of the time this is the method we use. So what happens here is user one, if he's using admin portal or whatever it is, first what he has to do, he has to enter the password. So identifying platform or let's say a server verifies those credential, username and password both should match with their particular username and the password. So usually what happens, the password is not saved in the server as it is. If I am giving a password, say Sumant, then Sumant is not saved in the server as it is. It is saved in encrypted form, or we call it as hashed form. So first we hash the password and then we save it in the server, and after that when it is successfully verified, it will tell the admin portal that password is like your credential is verified, and then we can use the application or whatever it is. In this case where we are seeing about web application, if you are using any other type of platform, then you can easily log into that and you can use that. And after that, it comes multi-factor authentication. So in password authentication, what used to happen is that there was a large number of crime which was happening. So let's say the common example is phishing, or say social engineering. So what happens is, if a friend or whoever it is, if they get to know your password, they can easily log in through their system or device, anything. So to prevent that, first thing Google did was, earlier it was having username and password on the same screen. But later, what they did, in the first screen, they asked to enter the username, and in the second screen, they ask you to enter the password. In that case, the phishing is avoided to some extent. And in order to secure it even more, they introduced the multi-factor authentication. In multi-factor authentication, what happens is, first you have to enter the password, and then your secure device or your trusted device will ask you to verify the same thing. So your trusted device might be your OTP, or your phone which you're using, or say anything which is trusted, which you have gained access to it. And when these two steps are verified, then it goes to the second stage and it grants access. So multi-factor authentication that requires two or more independent way to identify user. Examples include code generated from user smartphone, capture test, fingerprint test, or facial recognition. Also, MFA authentication methods and technology increase the confidence of user by adding multiple layer of security. See, in this case, most of the time, the things cannot be hacked or it cannot be misused. So people, but it has, it has own pitfall. Like it has its own drawback. Say you are having your the trusted device is your phone number or SIM or a phone. Let's say if you have lost your phone, you cannot log into the system so easily. So it is a hectic procedure and you have to follow many steps. You have to verify yourself. It's a complicated thing. So sometimes it's a problem as well. So common example like we can say is when we are using our card for the transaction and all. So after we enter the car, we are asked to enter the OTP. uh, like sometimes when you use the network internet banking, they ask OTP two times. So this is in this way they make sure that your information is secured. So after this, here comes certificate based authentication. Yeah, it actually it is usually used in websites or wherever in the workplaces and all. So certificate based authentication technology identifies users, machines, or devices by digital certificates. The digital certificate here is an electronic document based on the idea of driver license, passport, anything. A secure password is made with keys, public key and a private key. Coming to public key and a private key, it comes under network security. So basically, it verifies your network. So say a client, see there is a good roadmap. A client using here first request the protected resource. Then the server, what it does, it presents a certificate, and after it presents a certificate, the client verifies the certificate whether it is true or false. And after it is verified, the client produces each certificate to show that he is also a genuine person. And when in the server also verify the same certificate with the trusted store. And here also trusted sorry trust store may be a server or a like common device. And after that, when everything is verified, they can exchange their information. The certificate contains the digital identity of a user, including public key and the digital signature of a certification authority. Digital certificates prove the ownership of a public key and issued only by certification authority. There is certification authority which mm, which gives the certificate to server to the website. And usually in website we use another secure layer HTTP. There is two type of website also. When you visit, there is HTTP and HTTPS. The HTTPS is secure one, and it is secured. Now it is having SSL certificate. So after that, it comes biometric authentication. So there is no much to say tell about it, but biometric authentication is a security process that relies in unique biological characteristics of an individual. So biometrics can be fingerprint, facial recognition, retina scan, voice recognition, and also there is something called DNA verification when it comes to biometrics. So basically what happens is they use your biometrics to verify the system. So when we are using multi-factor authentication, we can as a multi-factor we can use biometric also. So when we are using biometric, it is safe for some extent. And retina, and the thing is this thing cannot be cloned easily. So people, if they're trying to clone, they will be it is very difficult for them. And I hope you have saw this feature of Android, sorry, iOS. So iOS fingerprint scanner is so accurate that it can recognize a living human being and a dead human being. So after a human is dead, his fingerprint pattern changes, and if he tries to log in through that fingerprint, it doesn't allow the user in. So it is somewhat biometric authentication is somewhat strong. So after it comes a token based authentication. So a token-based authentication technology enables user to enter his credential once. So authorization server, what it does is they will give a temporary token in the sense we can say it as OTP kind of thing. So when you're using GitHub, sometimes what happens is whenever you're trying to log in through Android Studio or some other software, it doesn't log in. So what you can do is you can ask for a temporary token, and using that token you can log in. So a token is also a valid type of authentication, which is also secure. So you have to make sure that your token is not lost, and you can get the token to access the protected system instead of entering credential all over again. The digital tokens proves that you have already have the access permission. So once you have a token that says that you are a valid person. Say you are working in an organization, and you are given an identity card or a entrance card. So whenever once it is verified that you are the same person, you need not take your identity card every time. So once it is verified in system, you can easily use the same ID card for your till the time you work there. So this is the same thing. Token also works the same thing, same principle. So once the token is issued, so you can use it again and again. Authentication is important because like it's the same thing which we use in corporates. So after this, we'll come to backup. Backup or this data backup is very important when it comes to cybersecurity and all, because many times when there is a threat, uh, uh, the data comes to our rescue. So what is a backup? Backup is a copy of a computer taken or stored somewhere else. It may be used to restore the data when the original data is lost. Data cyber attacks like WannaCry or PTA, non-PTA have had devastating consequences on the organization worldwide. You might have heard about WannaCry ransomware, uh, and it is estimated the loss was reduced to $15 million per day, and it took almost 5 days to recover most of the companies. Okay, backup which were made previously became the grace for many regular backup who help them to restore the data. Because ransomware, what they do is they demand a large amount of money for the data, and they sell the same data in the dark web. So if you don't pay this amount to them, they will exploit your data. So even in data backup, there is three type of backup. We'll discuss about that. The sim When we say about data backup, we refer to copying the original files that we have in a laptop, desktop, or external drive to the external drive. Creating a backup of original content means having the data saved in two places. Say, for example, what many people do, like they save the backup in their own system. So if your system is crashed, so you cannot get your own data back. So what you have to do is you have to store a backup in external drive or somewhere like that. We'll discuss about that. So there are three type of data backup. One is bootable backup. So in bootable backup, it's a simple backup of the entire boot drive. So whatever is there in a boot drive, everything is backed up using the image file, and usually it is saved in an external drive. It can be used to restore the system to exact state that includes before, like your settings, your data, everything will be restored as in the time of your data backup. After it comes external backup, it is very common. So most of you also do the same thing. So you are having most of your personal data, so you back up in your external drive. So when you're using external drive, the digital drive or ssd is preferred, because ssd is a digital drive and it cannot be corrupted easily. But when we talk about hdd hard disk, so it is having mechanical or a moving part, and which will cause data loss very easily. And if there is a mechanical fault, we cannot retrieve the data. So it is preferred to store all the data in ssds. And the most common one is cloud backup. And nowadays cloud using cloud backup is best thing, because your whole data is secure, and it is protected by some organization, say Google, Microsoft. So your data is safe there in the system, in the server. So they take care of everything. Say there is uh, a data centers, Google data centers is having 7 layers of data security. So it is not easy for any people to modify the data or destruct the data. So what I mean to say is, your data in Google like cloud is very secure. So they also maintain or they also do regular maintenance of the hard disk. So this was all about today. It was basic concepts of authentication and backup. It was all about today, and it's simple concept. And tomorrow onwards, we'll try to do something else. So this data backup and authentication is very important when we learn about uh, different type of attacks. So say you are trying to gain access of a system, so having knowledge about this is important. Say you are trying to gain access of a system. So there is a simple method. If you're trying to gain personal information of anyone, so one more common thing which people don't know is, you can try to access their printer, and in the printer there is a ram, and when you scan the ram, you get many personal information there also, and which you can use to uh, like investigate in cyber forensics. So this was all about today. And any doubts?
Sir, what is hash value in authentication?
Yes, hash value is the thing when when there is a password, say it's type of encryption, or you can say in common words, you can say it is encryption. So there is a value, say anything A B C D, something like that. If I take about cipher scripting, so the key is 5. So A will be F plus 5. So the thing, it is saved in an encrypted form using a hash table. It is there is like predefined algorithm which converts the real data into the encrypted form, so that it is saved in the drive or server. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Sir, can you explain the token-based authentication once more?
Yes, what happens in token-based authentication is, whenever you're trying to log in, say if you have logged in into the system, so you have to log in again into the system. And if you have added multi-factor authentication or a tight security, so if you're coming again, then you have to complete the whole procedure again. So instead of that, what you can do is, you can generate a token. So using that token, you can enter the same system easily. So you will not need to enter the password and all. So it is used in many of the
Sir,
places.
is it like session ID?
uh, Not like a session id. Say you are having your something like you are having a private space. So you're trying to log in, but it is showing some error or something due to internal error or anything, or say your friend wants to use a profile. So what you do is you will create your temporary token. So I'll show you a example of it. My screen is visible, right?
Yes, sir.
So even in GitHub, when we go to mm, settings and sorry, not here. Mm, Here in developer settings, there is personal access token. So for this, if I'm trying to, I will generate. See, I've generated some tokens. So if I'm trying to generate a new token, so it will ask the password for that time. So I will try to log in. And see, it will ask what and all you have to give permission, like if I were to give permission for the repositories, workflows, deleting packages and all. So if you're giving access to some other person to use their account or to modify, like if you're working in a team, so you can give all the access, and then you can click generate token. So one link will be generated which you can use in a system. uh, Let me generate a new token and show you a new token or a demo token. Okay, so I will give permission of repositories, and then I will generate a new token. So this is the token ID. So if my friend or if I am telling you, if I don't want to share password and all many personal information with you, and if I'm giving this token to you, you can use it to log into your system, and I will get the notification saying that you have logged in using my token ID. And sometimes in some of the uh, organization, they said tokens valid for some times as well. So this is what token is. So token is basically a ID card, or say in common language, you can say it is a ID card which allows us user to sign into the particular system. Is that clear now?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Anything else? Anyone? See, and one more thing, in cybersecurity, there is no need of coding and all. So at the first phase, we, as I told, we'll be having this practical, like basic concept session, and it is important as well. So many of might be feeling that it is boring and all, but the thing is, it is important, and it shouldn't happen that when you are going into the core concept and it is like, I don't know that topic, I don't know what it is. So it shouldn't happen. So we'll see everything in basics, and then we'll push into the core concept. Okay. So when we are doing this concept, just concentrate or just have a basic knowledge of everything, because at the end of the day, it is important. Anyone? Any other doubts? Is that clear? Shall we end the session then? Okay then. This was all about today. So I will assign you
So
the.
I think there's a question in the chat box.
Yes.
If you can address that. There's a question in the chat box.
Yes. Yes. So yes, getting into cybersecurity domain as a fresher. This is a good question. So as per my knowledge or as I was taught, so most of the companies will not give a direct security role as a fresher. So what they do is, see, for being a analyst or a cybersecurity specialist, yeah, there is, you do not require coding knowledge, but what company wants is uh, they want you to have good coding skills. So most of the companies, say Amazon or Facebook, first they want you to have some experience. So first you have to join there as a employee or a software developer engineer or SDE or anything, a cloud analyst or anything, and after having some experience, then they will give their own training and then they will promote you to some of their position. So as a fresher, it is very difficult to get a role in cybersecurity. But the thing is, you have to have a domain, and there are very rare. Like Cisco is, yes, they're giving us some opportunities. And apart from that, as a fresher, you can work as a freelancer. You can test penetration testing and all. So like that you can do. But most of the companies do not give you direct opportunity as a freshers, because when it comes to cybersecurity, they cannot take the company into risk. First they have to gain your like trust, and then they will provide you that position. Because when it comes to cybersecurity, everything, like the reputation of the whole company is in your hand. So this was all about. So basically, if I want to conclude, you'll not get direct role. Skills you need to excel in cybersecurity, like you have to, the thing is, one more thing, when you're into like technology, you have to be updated with all the knowledges. Like coming technology, you should be updated with everything. It is not like once you have learned and then finish. It is not like any other profession. The things keeps on changing, so every day there is many changes coming on, and new technology, and you have to grow with the technology. You can never stop learning. So when you want to excel in cybersecurity, you have to make sure that what all are the threats, and when you're trying to penetrate into something, you have to keep it vulnerable. You have to make sure that nothing is there is no vulnerable spot, and if you find a vulnerability, then you have to make sure that it is solved, and you have to keep the same lesson for the future as well. So say you found a vulnerable machine, and if you have solved that, so you have to make sure that it is not solved again, it is not happening again. So this is the thing. And you have to be good with Kali as well, and all the advanced tools, upcoming tools. And coming to major skills, this is all about the skills. You have to be when we are analyzing about vulnerability, so we have to make sure that we should have coding knowledge in that vulnerability, checking the vulnerability, and where we have made some problem and all. And what happens in many times is, hacker, what he does is, he can also send a payload through a PDF file. So you have to make a good firewall, so that your organization is not under threat. So you have to have see, when a company is hiring you for cybersecurity role or anything, so you have to have a basic knowledge of everything. They will never ask your advanced knowledge. So basically what they ask is, you should have basic knowledge about type of threats, how it is happening, and how you can protect that, or how you can avoid that. So basically, you have to have all the basic knowledge, and most of the companies, what they do, they train you for the same thing. So even my seniors who they are working, they first they gain some 2 3 years experience, and then now they work as cybersecurity analyst and all. So this was all about. So first thing, you should be strong enough with the basics, and then you should go with advanced skills. You should have knowledge about the basic tools, like basic tools whatever we use for testing and all. And this is all about. You should have basic knowledge, strong fundamentals. Anything else? So by the meanwhile, some other session I will share you the roadmap of how you can become a cybersecurity analyst or something like that. Also, meanwhile, I'll share ethical hacking course as well. I'll do that. Anything? Any others? Any doubts? I can text in the comment.
No, sir.
Box. So, shall we end the session today? Okay, good.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this was all about today. You can end the leave the meeting. If you have any doubt, you can stay here.